Hello, my people, my very correct people. Area Luna. I don't bring Ogbo get gist can't give you now. This one are the very correct one. I beg if you dey watch this video, make you try make you share them, make everybody know what they happen. Not talk say Nigeria matter not consign you. He not consign me before, but now he don't consign me. In fact, me I don't time as gele for head though. Hey, Nigeria news now. You need to know what they happen. Otherwise, they go sell our country, sell us dream. We're not gonna know what they happen. So the news that me bring can't give on us so you not pass the one. Asari Dokumbo go meet Tinubu. If they can't close door, they can't they talk. After they don't talk finish, now they can't come out, they can't they address Nigerians. He not talk with they talk, oh, he say, but say Tinubu na a papa. Say everything to say make Tinubu turn on work. He go put his heart, he go put his mind, he go put his soul, he go put his body, he go put his head, he go put his 22 children when he born and his 4 wives. You hear me? He can't talk this one based on the fact, say, he say he trust Tinubu, say Tinubu they back, say Tinubu fit give him the protection. He said that's why he come out, can help or one can help Tinubu make sure say all these things what he want do if he get aid, especially for the Niger Delta. So he can see talk say 99% of oil thefts where they happen for Nigeria is traced to the army and the navy. He said these people are notorious. Say they're bad. Say they fit by anybody we want stop them. He said these people now very mighty and strong people where it dey our society. Now they come together with these people, they extract our oil illegally. The guy not say stop there. He constantly talk, say in they successful, say not way not get, say in get SUVs. The same way say get wives and in get 22 children. The question we want ask now be say, when I not say if you dey abroad, to get to carry the hard one person, it hard. Not to talk or say you can't get SUVs. How you take make the money? If you yourself do not still get anything to still do with the same people who they talk so. Might leave that one for one corner. The guy constantly talk say, now Tinubu turn. Now Tinubu turn, that's why they do everything to take make sure say Tinubu enter. Turn by turn, turn by turn. The guy constantly vomit for him mouth, say, make them no ever. Say make them not ever, make Tinubu not ever try release Nnamdi Kanu. Say make not try am. Say where he did there, now there he go bye. Oh, there is God. Oh, the guy not say stop there. He said this powerful cabal where they all this our oil palava so wahala so. He said now Tinubu na be their match. Say now only Tinubu fit deal with them. The matter not stop there. Then my Professor Abiodun Adeniyi come and come talk say Asari Dokumbo you to talk. Which kind of exaggeration be that one say 99% of oil theft is traced back to army and navy? Where do they vomit for your mouth so? Where do they talk? Why you go make that kind of statement for national television? Why you go? This same army will be say they don't try their best to keep up democracy for all these years. This same army will be say anytime that they do anything will consign Nigeria, now they protect us. This same army will be say Boko Haram never take over Nigeria completely. Why you going to talk say 99% of our oil theft is traced to them? The man can condemn wetin Asari Dokumbo talk. The matter not say stop there. He constantly go further. One man where they constantly interview former president of the Joy Youth Council come and talk say wetin Asari talk na true. He say wetin Asari talk na true. He said because the problem where they the Niger Delta, he say it too big. He say it too big. He say many government don't try to solve the problem. He said they're not fit. He says, so this new government will enter, so may they try, may they look at the holistic way to take help Nigerians. May they open and transparent to Nigerians. He said with that, the tenor will work. He said that small percentage so they thought say they're going to give the oil producing states. He said may they stand by them. He said otherwise, where would they come from? Or which would also one stop? Will they circle? Will see they run about? We not go, we not go come. He said Tinubu, he know how to deal with these people. So in other words, this former president of Ijaw Youth Council agreed to waiting Asari they talk. But Professor Abiodun Adeniyi he can't talk, say na exaggeration, between a hyperbole and be that one now. He say it too exaggerate. Why go make that kind of statement? My people, plenty things there. Plenty things there. We need to put our eye down. This government will enter, so our eye need to reach ground. No, not give up, oh. Not give up. Say, I beg you, now see bill 8 years ago, now see the same thing I go be. No accept. Follow them for back. In case you know I can tell you, begin the interview you about your country. And anything where you want to talk, they're not gonna be fat, there will be random talk. But right now, if you dey informed, if you talk one or two things, mention one or two person name, mention the way they talk can. That is the thing where be say day where be say everybody supposed know. I know say if you don't help us for a long run, no, but at least it's well to be informed. My people, una not say Tinubu don't get the advisors with the advisor. We'll show now their faces and we'll show now their names. We will show now everything. We will put our eye down where this government will enter, so we will follow them step by step. Now this one I break on give on my people. You know, forget on a BOD TV board where we they analyze the trends of what they happen, bring them together in a summary. Wait till this one talk, wait till that one talk. We bring everything together, make you see and say you don't miss anything out of it. I beg me, you don't forget to share this video, like and subscribe. Your comments is well appreciated. Now bye bye.
I came here today to give words of encouragement to the president for the actions and policies so far made in these less than 3 weeks of governing a very difficult country like Nigeria. We discussed on a wide range of issues, especially on security and oil theft in the Niger Delta. Myself and my brothers, I assure the president that there will be zero oil theft and vandalization in the Niger Delta. We are going to work with NNPC, PCL, and the IOCs to make sure that oil theft is brought to zero. I also want to say that oil theft is encouraged by the military. The military is at the center of oil theft. And we have to make this very, very clear to the Nigerian public. 99% of oil theft can be traced to the Nigerian military, the Army and the Navy especially. The Army and the Navy intimidate the civil defense, who are by status the people who are supposed to guard these pipelines. They receive a lot of money from NNPC, PCL, and the IOCs, and just across the corner, you will see a houseboat. A few meters from the houseboat, you will see an oil bunkering refinery or tapping directly from oil well heads. It is very pathetic now. What is happening in the Niger Delta in the past 8 years was unprecedented in the history of oil production anywhere in the world. The vandals do not only attack the pipelines, they have migrated from the pipeline and have gone directly to the oil wellheads, and they take directly from the oil wellheads. They set up haphazard facilities they call local refinery, artisan refinery. This is crime against humanity because the livelihood of the people is being totally destroyed. The livelihood of the people is totally destroyed. And every meter you see a naval houseboat or an army houseboat stationed. So the main culprits are the army and the navy. And there are notorious naval commanders who are known to be kingpins of these bunkering activities. Even if they give 1 billion contracts to everybody in the Niger Delta, because these military men are armed from the army and the navy, nothing will happen. The president has promised to take decisive action to make sure that this does not continue. It is brought to an end. It is very shameful. So I had volunteered to help, to assist, and to do the things that are necessary to put a stop to this evil that is being perpetuated against the people of the Niger Delta, the oil-bearing community, and the whole of Nigerians. On security, I want to clearly say that there are full-scale wars going on in different parts of this country. In the southeast, the IPOB ESN is waging a full-scale war against the government of this country. And many local governments, many communities are deserted, schools are closed, hospitals are closed. In the same vein, in Niger, in Zamfara, in Plateau, in Kaduna, in Yobe, in Borno, we're only talking about Boko Haram. Boko Haram is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a full-scale war going on. And the blackmail of the Nigerian state by the Nigerian military is shameful. They said they do not have enough armament, and people listen to these false narratives. They are lying. They are liars. I repeat, they are liars because I am a participant. I am a participant in this war. I fight on the side of the government of the Nigerian state, in Plateau, in Niger, in Anambra, in Imo, in Abia, and in Rivers State, and in Abuja. Today you are traveling to Kaduna on this road. It's not the army that made it possible to travel for you to travel to Abuja or travel to Kaduna, vice versa. It is my men, employed by the government of the Nigerian state, stationed in Niger. Today you go to Baga, you go to Chiroro, you go to Wase. We have lost so many men, and we do not use, in all this engagement, we don't even have 1% of the armament deployed by the Nigerian military. 1%. And we have had resounding success. So these black men must end. They have enough resources to fight. Instead of fighting, they are busy stealing. They are busy making the government to spend unnecessarily. Where is Dogo today? Who was terrorizing Niger, Kaduna? Where is Dogo today? He's nowhere. Because he had been served his dish that he was serving other people. So, let us be able to support the government and don't listen to these false narratives. Because somebody must tell the truth. Hey, we don't have arms. An average person is carrying 2 magazines of AK-47 bullets. The Nigerian army is carrying inside their truck 20, 30 cans. 2 magazines of AK-47 is 25 rounds of ammunition. 700 or 750 make up a can. They call it sardine. And they have 20, 25, 30 in their distance. They will leave on slight attack. They will abandon these weapons for the bandits, the insurgents, to take them, to capture them. So in actual fact, the insurgents are harvesting from the Nigerian military and police to further their insurgency. And most of these people, are they actually insurgents? They are mere criminals. They are mere criminals. You go to some camps, you find 200 vehicles stolen from people. Who are the owners of these vehicles? They cut these vehicles into parts, they sell them. You go to some places, you find that human beings' parts are being brought out. They are put in coolers and sold. Woman organ trafficking, etc., which the governor of Anambra State, Soludo, has also attested to it in one of his interviews. So what I'm trying to say is this. I, as a person who is in the know, I have given, even before the president came, I knew that we had never had any person like him aspiring for this position. I'm not flattering him now. I said it before the primaries. I said it during the course of the election. I said it after the election. So all the forces of evil and darkness came together to fight to make sure that Ahmed Bola Tinubu did not become president of Nigeria. Because they are benefiting from the institution failure that is going on. Why is NDDC is not working? Because there are people from here who go and collect all the money from NDDC. All the money. The NDDC MD and the board members only want to survive. Let me just take my bread and water. Let them not sack me. So they take all this thing. At the amnesty program, it's the same thing. They just go collect everything. And it is the people that are sitting there that suffers. How can somebody say 500 billion a month? You are using it to lift people out of poverty. Do you know how many industries that will set up? Do you know how many agricultural settlements that will set up? Where did the money go to? How can somebody say we use $10 billion, almost 8 trillion, to service the gluttonous appetite of a few people like us at the expense of the masses? And then NLC and talk will come and say they should give them palliative. What is the proportion? What is the percentage of members of NLC and talk, vice versa, the total population of Nigeria? Why will we operate an apartheid system of rewarding a few people at the expense of the generality of the people? Why would they have palliative cushioning? The woman in Lotugbene, the woman at Kola who is switching, or the woman somewhere at Agayi who is swimming, does she have that same palliative? Have we not been having this palliative? Did we not have PTF? Did we not have this road maintenance, what do they call it? FEMA? They are all conduit pipes. They achieved nothing. They are conduit pipes. The president should not listen to such advice. Channel the money to fix our education. Channel the money to fix our health, fix our road, fix our agriculture. Don't tell me that they are going to give loan. Agricultural loan is being given by the central bank. How many people access it? A few people. They access billions. Do they pay back? Aviation loan is there. Somebody is giving 10 million US dollars, 20 million US dollars, 100 million US dollars as loan to cushion the effect of who? How many Nigerians travel by air? Why will we carry the gluttonous appetite of Nigerians, of a few Nigerians who are not even up to 1%, and put it on the generality of the people? The president is a firm person. I know him. Everywhere I went to campaign, I always say, if Ahmed Bola Tinubu fails, hold me responsible. Because I had known him, I can stand in the gap and say, this is Ahmed Bola Tinubu. I can take bullet for him. And I came today just to say hello and to encourage him and to say we are with him. And inshallah ta'ala, he's going to succeed. Thank you very much. I don't have my personal army. Nigeria has been engaging mercenaries, foreign mercenaries from other countries, from Belarus, from South Africa, to fight insurgency. Maybe you are not aware. So why will Nigeria not engage in the same token locals who have the same wherewithal and are more effective and are more conversant with the environment? We are not the only one. Hunters Association, different people are engaged. Civilian JTF are engaged to confront this evil that has enveloped this country. I don't have a private army. I am assisting the government as a citizen, as a good citizen of this country, to save the lives. Since the time we went there, Kaduna Road had been free, no more kidnapping. We are saving lives. I don't have a private army, and the Constitution does not provide for a private army. The president is a strong president. He's a commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's going to take decisive action to get these rotten eggs. It's not the old army and the navy. There are a few who have this entitlement mentality. A better person, I get power person, I get people where they up, where go to cover me. The president is going to remove them and make it possible for the people of this country to benefit. For instance, Emefiele is gone, Bauer is gone, so more heads will roll. Those who are standing as an impediment to the good and progress of this country, the president will not dilly-dally with them. He will not do sissy with them. He's going to put and kick them out. And when he does that, we'll have the unfettered power, encouragement to get rid of oil theft, which all my brothers in the Niger Delta, all of us have agreed.
The unconditional release of Nnamdi Kanu, do you share that view, sir?
I don't share in that. You encourage people to kill other people. When the madness they call EndSARS started, I was one of the people vocal opposed to that nonsense called EndSARS. And Nnamdi Kanu was walking free. What did he do? He poured petrol. He was walking free. He poured petrol on the flames for EndSARS. Now, he has been caught. What of the people who have died? This is a criminal. He should face the law. What of the people who have died by, as I'm talking, Nnamdi Kanu does not have any control over what is happening in the southeast. Simeon Ekpa had come out pretending that he's with Nnamdi Kanu. He has actually plotted a coup against Nnamdi Kanu to take over the leadership of IPOB. That is the truth of the matter. So releasing Nnamdi Kanu is rewarding criminality and rewarding gruesome murder of innocent people. He should face the law for the actions and the instigation he has carried out. I cannot tell you what I discussed with the president. What I know that, like I told you, the president is a very firm personality. And when he takes a decision, when he came out and they were saying all sorts of things, no person had been so maligned, abused, made fun of, like this president. Those of us who believe that it was the president's turn, we stood when he said Emilokon. It was strange. Even all the booing, the backstabbing. If there are Judases in the world, Jesus Christ had one Judas. His own Judas were in their legions. He survived it. So I'm not going to discuss or disclose what the president told me. 2, my dear sister, the people doing the bunkering had been there. A lot of people had come out to say it before this time. The people doing the bunkering are not our people, because they cannot bring those big supercargo ships, vessels that are almost the size of this villa. They don't have the resources. There are powerful cabals, most time operating from Abuja, who know. And you saw it on television, where pipes are linked, pipes are linked to export terminals and diverted. How will that be possible that an ordinary person will go and do that? There are powerful forces in place, far more stronger, who think they are far more stronger. But they've made their match. And their match is President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. He is going to bring all of them. He's going to expose all of them. And many people will be marching to Kuje and Krikri prison. Myself and Tompolo are not in the same field. He is guiding pipelines. I am not guiding pipelines. And Tompolo or myself, even if I'm giving, will not succeed if the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, is not ready to stamp it, put his feet down, and say this should not continue. Because I will also be, I am speaking now because I know that the president will protect me because I'm saying the truth. Under another president, they might not give you the protection. So they might not give Tompolo the protection. You saw on television where Tompolo himself was accusing the military. I saw it on channel. I saw it on Arise. Tompolo himself was accusing the military. It is, so for us, I know this president, and I know this president is a stickler for the rule of law. He's going to make sure, we need all the money. Have you been to United Arab Emirates? Have you been to Qatar? Go there and see what they have used their oil to do. Why can't we use our oil to do something? Where is the oil money going? It's not me. Oh. Me, I talk, they say I talk very raw. I speak very raw. Me, I'm okay. I have 4 wives. I have 22 children. And I have several SUVs. It's only jet I've not bought. So it's not me. No, I'm being frank with you. But when you know what is going on, the deprivation, when somebody calls you on the phone and say, my brother, I have not eaten since yesterday. The person went to school. The person has skills. But the system will not allow the person to excel. Why must we all become criminals to survive? Why must we all become beggars to survive? Why will opportunities not be given to us to raise our shoulders high and to be good men and women and to be good citizens? This is what it is. This is what Ahmed Bola Tinubu will bring about, and I believe it, and I know that he will succeed. I'm praying for him, and I'm also going to stand physically by him. Thank you very much.
Keenly watching that, and how does that, because perhaps people should be asking about his sources, because he placed a percentage mark on that, say 99%. That is something that he needs to really come clear or clean on.
Well, so many things so many things occurred to me from his pronouncements. Yeah, we know Asari Dokubo as a relatively unusual person, somewhat bohemian, somewhat disposed to speaking without discretion sometimes. But I was wondering why he chose the pedestal that he chose to express this. Could it be probably because he went to brief the president about his allegation, and that's why he decided to talk to us from that pedestal? And again, he said that he's going to start to challenge them. He's telling us that he's got the capacity to challenge the Nigerian military that he accused of these thefts, And again, of course, that even if there are some bad eggs consistent with the bad apple theory in criminology, you do not expect that the percentage will be up to 99%, Yeah. There must be some hyperbole there, some level of exaggeration. But ordinarily, I would have thought that there should have been some discretion, some moderation, especially when you are we are being critical of a very important institution like the military. The military is historically, even in contemporary times, one of the most respectable profession anywhere in the world. And in Nigeria's circumstance, the role they have played in the last 12, 15 years in the stabilization of democracy, in the stabilization of the Nigerian nation state, cannot be undermined by any means. And it's not an institution that we should ordinarily disparage the way he did it, even though we're not saying that they are devoid of bad eggs, or we're not saying that they don't have imperfections. Remember, we're also in a democracy where they are constantly playing some roles, somewhat different from the kind of role that we'll see even in civilized society. And I will give you an example. In the United States, for instance, when we're watching handovers, you hardly see some levels of military presence. But in Nigeria, even if you may say it's an intangible, but they give some color, to that process of handing over. And of course, you can see the submission of the military authorities to the civilian authority, from the symbolic handover of flag, carried out by the head of the military, as the case could be. In this case, like we saw on May 29, the Chief of Defense Staff, handed over the flag of office to the President and Commander-in-Chief. Those things are symbolic. They might be intangible, but they just are to tell us that, yes, we're a fighting force. We've got the power, to be combative, to be aggressive, to be forceful, but we are submitting to your authority because you represent the sovereignty of our state, and you are commander-in-chief, apart from being the president of this country. That institution is a sacred one to a very large extent. There's no institution in this country that is completely immaculate, or that you will say cannot be found wanting in one aspect or the other. What matters is how well we try to address this institution and try to grow them. After all, we have made the argument severally that part of the bane of our development is the weakness of our institution. The military is not excluded, but if you want to count the number of institutions that are still functional in this country now, I'm not sure you can count up to 3 before you mention the military institution. And I think to that extent, we should give them some little regard, even though we still know that there might still be more things to be desired.
Okay, you heard that report. You saw the address by Asari Dokubo. Let's start this way. Who should be in the position to be giving the federal government and indeed Nigerians that assurance coming from Asari Dokubo that oil theft and vandalism in Nigeria will be brought to zero point? Who should be giving that assurance?
Well, ordinarily it should be the Nigerian military, but you know what's happening in the country. Everybody is now left to fend for himself. People provide their own security, people provide their own amenities, people provide their own ways of life. So as it stands, everybody is struggling to survive. There's no more hope in the Nigerian military. What Alhaji Asari said yesterday, a bit today, it's not news. If sitting governor has said it in the past, the Ijaw Youth Council over the years have always talked about it. You hear allegations of people paying so much money to be posted to the Niger Delta, and then when you post them to the north, some of them go AWO and things like that. So it's not news. Everybody knows. You go to the Niger Delta, an area between Abia and River State, you will be shot at if you go and stop the military from doing what they are doing. Yes,
Are you
all these
saying
allegations are not new to anybody in the Niger Delta.
You're saying the entire Nigerian military is culpable, is complicit?
No, I can't say. I didn't say the
or
entire.
there are a
no.
few bad eggs.
Well,
but the question is, why has it really, remained an intractable problem? This oil theft. When you consider how much Nigeria loses, well, we're told, trillions,
My dear,
2.3 trillion within 10 months before April of 2023. Why has this remained intractable? Is this factor right now that we're hearing that the Nigerian military is complicit?
Well, no, there are economic issues.
Because we even heard from Tom Polo
My dear,
that federal government knows those behind oil theft.
Look, I don't want to further make allegations, but right from the top, aside from the military, there are a lot of people that are involved. People own vessels in this country that are specifically bought to participate in oil bunkering. Let me tell you, there was an incident where the Tantita, this Tom Polo's organization, caught a vessel. And as I speak to you, there are allegations of soldiers who went there and arrested even the Tantita staffs and ensured that that vessel was released. A lot of people know about this. So the point is that if you come to the Niger Delta, we all know those. In fact, there are some military agencies that own their own local refineries. Before the last president had to dissolve a task force, there were accusations of various security agencies owning their own local refineries in the Niger Delta. And that's a huge work that Tantita, through Tom Polo, has been able to do to cleanse the area.
So how much difference really has that even made
well, you have seen the
securing
increase.
the oil pipelines in the Niger Delta? I mean, we heard from former President Buhari, who actually condemned the fact that warlords are the ones protecting Nigeria's oil pipelines when we have capable military. In the words of former President Buhari.
Well, you know that the corruption in Nigeria is such a way that you cannot just isolate one aspect of our society and expect it to work. The corruption have eaten deep. What is the welfare package of military officers? What of the Niger Delta people who produce the oil? What is the response of government towards the people of the Niger Delta? All these have accumulated to a quest for survival by the Niger Delta people. So the people on their own part will do anything, both compromising and working with security agencies to ensure that they survive. So you cannot isolate one aspect, and that's why we're saying that if you're going to fight corruption, you need to be holistic and then ensure that the welfare package is properly done. Yes, I agree that the Niger Delta people can do the security better, but it's just going to be a stopgap measure. If you want a lasting solution, then you must ensure that the refineries are functional. $1.5 billion was collected to revive Port Harcourt refinery. Nobody is talking about that. Once the products are not available, the Niger Delta people will look for alternative means to produce these products. At a time, government was even talking about putting the artisanal miners in the Niger Delta into cooperatives so that they can work with government to create an economy in that environment and then keep these young boys engaged. That committee worked to an extent before they abandoned it. Not forgetting that in the north, they are illegal miners are put together and working with government in some states in the north. So if you, in one country, have two different laws, then people will begin to take laws into their hands. For us to be able to solve this problem, government must ensure that the refineries are producing.
Udegs, are you bothered if you heard him clearly?
Yeah.
Are you bothered that Asari Dokubo just said that the Nigerian army are claiming that they don't have enough armaments to fight oil theft and vandalism in Nigeria? Does that bother you?
Well, for me, I know that the issue of corruption is a problem here. Over 3 or 4 billion. At the time, 1 point something billion was taken to buy arms. You saw all the airplanes that were coming into the country, helicopters, ammunitions that were coming in. Several times you've heard of the NSA trying to clear ammunitions that have come into this country. The truth is that there's complicity around the fight, the terrorism war in the country, where bigger nations, our neighbors, and Western nations are all involved. We have had several situations where, in this country, we forget so quickly. There was a time where UN facility was invaded by the Nigerian army because it was suspected to have been housing a particular terrorist leader. So you can see that the complicity is coming from all angles in the Cold War.
So, but do you think there's a political will, really, to address this once and for all?
Well, I think
especially
that,
on the part of government.
I think that we have a new leadership in the last 16 days that have actually shown that they are prepared to deal with the issues. We just hope that this tempo will be sustained to the point where the real issues will be dealt with. I believe that since we have a leader who understands most of these things, of course he has been long enough to know who and who to deal with. Hopefully, things will be better than where we are coming from. What are those real issues,
very quickly before we go, what are those real fundamental issues?
Well, first of all, the issues of corruption, the welfare of
I mean, you made that point. Apart from that, are there...
the economic issues in the country.
Great.
Yeah, once you are able to deal with the economic issues, the power issues, then Nigerians will begin to have some level of confidence, and then you will see the support from the public coming up to give information necessary for the country to move forward.
Talking about public support, earlier while you were talking, you mentioned the fact that you also believe that the people of the Niger Delta can better fight. Let's talk about local communities engagement. How better can the locals play active roles in fighting this menace?
Look, let me tell you, the federal government signed the PIA, the Petroleum Industry Act, into law. In that PIA, 3% is supposed to go to the communities. As we speak, the NNPC have not done the job of educating the community to understand their role and, of course, the benefits that will come out from the 3%.
Are they even getting the 3%?
If the community, it's not law. It's signed into law. From that minute, that money is accumulated somewhere. If the community people know that, look, we are going to be getting 3% from the operations in my environment. By 12 o'clock, so amount of oil I've left my place, so 3% of it will amount to $3,000, $30,000. No community will allow anybody infringe on oil facilities in their environment.
Maybe that is where people like you come in.
You see,
Udengs will have to live it there.
I agree with you, but you need to educate the people. While government is also doing its part of ensuring that the refineries are functional, so that the products will be available to Nigerians.
Dele Alake is the Special Advisor for Special Duties, Communications and Strategy. Wale Edun is the Special Advisor for Monetary Policies, and former EFCC Chairman Nuhu Ribadu will serve as the Special Advisor for Security. Others are Yao Darazo, Special Advisor for Political and Intergovernmental Affairs, John Uwajumogu, Special Advisor for Industry, Trade and Investment, and Zacchaeus Adedeji, Special Advisor for Revenue. 2 female special advisors were among the 8 chosen. Olu Verajen for Energy and Dr. Salma Ibrahim Anas for Health. Last week, the Senate approved the President's request to appoint 20 special advisors.
Now, let's start with the National Economic Council. The National Economic Council is a creation of the Constitution, Section 153. There are other institutions that are created under Section 153, the National Judicial Council, the National Security Council, the Council of State, the RMAFC, that's the Revenue Mobilization Commission, and several other commissions. But Section 153, subsection 1, creates the National Economic Council. Under Section 148, the role of the Vice President as the chairman of the council is recognized. There are other sections of that constitution that gives specific roles to the Vice President of Nigeria, Section 131, Section 141, and all of that. So Part 1, third schedule of the Constitution talks about the National Economic Council. So President Tinubu inaugurating the National Economic Council yesterday, is acting in line with the law. And the chairman is the Vice President. In terms of composition, you have the state governors, you have the governor of the central bank, you have other persons that are co-opted into that particular body. What is the function of the National Economic Council? To advise the president on the economic affairs of the country and to ensure inclusivity, that all the states are on board. So that's the context of that. But there's also the National Economic Management Team, which is chaired by the president. There is, if the president decides, he can also come up with a National Economic Advisory Council. So in all of this, the National Economic Council itself is basically, advisory. They make recommendations to the president. But what has been stressed here is that to be able to solve the big economic problems Nigeria is facing, a debt profile that we have been told has even gone up to 85 trillion with the devaluation of the naira, with the merger of all the windows on the foreign exchange portal. It means there is serious work ahead with the subsidy removal. So, but it is good to have all of these, constituents working together. In other words, what is referred to as the wisdom of the community to be able to solve wicked problems that Nigeria faces. It's called wicked problems, either locally or internationally. So the vice president has his job cut out for him now, but it is basically advisory. I keep reminding people, all other functions are stipulated in the other sections of the Constitution that are outlined. The second thing that the president did yesterday is that he announced 8 advisors out of the 20 that was approved for him by the 9th Senate. The 9th Senate, the main job it did for this president was that it approved a list of a request for 20 advisors that were sent to him. If you look at the composition, you see that these special advisors, you can rank them 1 to whatever. And they are persons who have been recommended to the president by the president himself, by Buhari, former president of Nigeria, and by, the vice president. I looked at that list. Dele Alake, Wale Edun, Nuhu Ribadu, these are the president's men who have been with him for a very long time. And if you look at Dele Alake, he's been given special duties, communications, strategy. That's quite a very big responsibility. So you are likely to see Mr. Dele Alake playing a major role. But he's a trusted aide. He's been Commissioner for Information and Strategy in Lagos. He's been with the Asiwaju for a very long time. So he's a man that can be trusted. You have Wale Edun, technocrat, economist, very distinguished. He was in the Transition Council. From the Transition Council, he was at the spring meetings in Washington, D.C. of the IMF and World Bank, representing the incoming government of Nigeria. He's been with Lehman Brothers, he's been everywhere, Denham Hill, and all of that. So he knows his onions. And don't be surprised if he will be the person behind some of the monetary policies that will be initiated. But he's a quiet, humble person. Then you have Ribadu. Ribadu has been chairman of the EFCC. He has been presidential candidate of the ACN. And he couldn't have been there if Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not trust him. He has a master's in law, and he knows the territory, so he's well chosen. Oluvejehan, Miss Oluvejehan, is an expert in gas, and energy, renewables, and all of that. And she has very great experience in that regard. Zaccheaus Adedeji was Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. So he's special advisor now on revenue. So he also knows his onions. Salma Anas was Commissioner for Health in Borno State. He served Governor Shetima as he then was. So she comes also with a background of experience. Yanda Razo was a special advisor on special duties to President Buhari. That's why I said, oh, President Buhari has also put one of his own men there. And then John Iwajumoro Ogu is also from the energy background. So, but 8 persons so far. We expect 12 more. But in terms of the key persons, you can have 20 special advisors. What President Obasanjo told us was that it's for the president to listen to the advice. But you can be sure that the first 4 that we mentioned, Dele Alake, Wale Edun, Ribadu, and Oluvejenhe, will be very powerful people in this team. But we still await the appointment of the ministers. And we hope that the president will still appoint persons with pedigree, technocrats, people who are capable. These ones give us confidence. There's nobody there that you can throw away, so that we'll see. But the advisors are as good as the president makes them.
Absolutely. Well, one thing you cannot fault President Tinubu, if you look at his antecedents, is the quality of his team, the people he surrounds himself with in terms of advisors. If you look at, as already has been analyzed, the quality of the team, you would understand that when it comes to pedigree, as you mentioned, Doctor, capability, technocrats, they all fit the bill, while still being able to address some of the concerns around fairness, equity. So one of the things that President Tinubu had said during his campaign was that he was going to ensure that young people and women would be represented in his government, whilst ensuring, because there's 25% at least so far in the special advisor's appointment of women, 2 women out of 8, making 25%, it still hasn't compromised in terms of capabilities. What we've had in the past is usually, sentiments used as a yardstick for appointment, as opposed to finding people who are both capable and able to meet the quota system that you want to arrange. I think that's something to watch and something fine to address. Of course, where you come from or your gender does not immediately impact on the quality of work that you will do. But it is good to see that he's able to keep to his campaign promises thus far, because we've promised that in the course of his administration, we will keep going back and, just going back to his campaign promises to ensure that he's able to meet them. Then going back to the inauguration of NEC and the first National Economic Council meeting yesterday, he had mentioned that they should recall how they danced and campaigned to get the job. And for them to remember that no excuses will be given as to, we didn't understand the enormity or the weight of the work ahead of us, because they ought to have been prepared. They knew about this. And then 2 things he mentioned in terms of the key areas to immediately look at. I don't envy the economic team as anyone who would handle the economy. Is number 1, living wage. Number 2, removal of fuel subsidy and the impact on the economy, and obviously to address these key concerns immediately. They have to hit the ground working, and hopefully we begin to see the gains of appointing these technocrats in office. And very quickly, finally, he said the key areas of his government will be 5. I've given it an acronym so we can continue to watch. SEJAI: security, E for economy, J for job creation, A for agriculture, and I for infrastructure.
This is BODTV Board. In case the first time you come here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more uploads.